What is up, guys? It is Senso here, and today I'll be going over some slept on perks that I feel does not get enough recognition in Dead by Daylight. There's over 100 perks for the survivor sides, and not counting the killers, but I'm not going to go over the killers because I don't play the killer very much, so I'm only going over the survivors perks. The 5 most ones that I feel are just slept on that are not enough people give any type of looking into or even using them because they're not meta. Are pretty simple. They're pretty slamming in my opinion. I think they're balling, and the 5 of them are stakeout. I love stakeout. I run it in every single build that I use because it gives you that boost, especially with a lot of people starting to run like Legion, and a lot of perks or a lot of killers running the perk Thanophobia, for example. It just kind of helps with that progression. When you're not in a chase and you're just working on gen, most of the time you'll start building up stakeout stacks. And it just 2% every time a great skill check rolls around. It's phenomenal. It's great. I love it. I use it, like I said, I use it in every single one of my builds. With it, it's super easy to get stacks out on. You don't have to be in a chase, and most of the time the killer's radius, especially if they're a big terror radius, like you can say Myers gets a bigger radius, for example, when he's tier 3. But just stuff like that, like you don't even have to be in chase, and it just stacks up. Most of the time you'll hit stack 4 and won't even notice it until you start working on a gen. This also applies for hills as well. Hitting a great skill check in a hill boosts it, but stakeout also gives it a plus 1%. So every time you hit it, you're doing a 2% increase, which is phenomenal. I love it. The next one I'm going to be speaking about, that once again, with all the players starting to use like Thanophobia, you're seeing more legions, is inner healing. Inner healing is baller. It's extremely good. Like I can't even, you break a totem, which you might even break anyways. You might run across like a rune, or you might run across something else like a devourer, or Lord forbid you run into any other perk that runs a totem. You break it, and then guess what? You don't even have to activate it just immediately. You can just go ahead and be hit, take a hit, try to lose the killer, and if you happen to lose the killer, jump in a locker. All chase wasted. It only takes 8 seconds for it to pop off a full heal. Like, that's insane. It's super nice just to get in a locker, hope and pray that they don't have Iron Maiden for whatever reason. Get out of the locker and your heal. Boom, go on about your day. You don't have to look for people. You don't have to sit there and heal and hit skill checks and follow with the animations, or if you're playing against a doctor, you don't have to worry about any of that. You just get in the locker, you're healed, you get out, and you're on your way. The next one, speaking of the doctor, is Calm Spirit. Calm Spirit, I feel it's one of the most heavily slept on perks, because it really doesn't matter if you're good at chases or good at looping in general. You really don't need it. But if you've ever played a doctor and he sits there and he uses a static blast, it is the world's most annoying thing. More than annoying than that, since you don't really see very many doctors, or personally I don't see very many doctors when playing, you run into everybody using Dead Man Switch and Pain Hook. It's annoying. They get hooked on a Scourge Hook, it blows your generator up, you scream. If they're not running Dead Man Switch, it's awesome, because they'll only get a notification that the generator blew up, but most of the time they'll ignore it because no one screamed. And that's Calm Spirit's pretty good. There's quite a few perks, like anything that causes people to scream, especially if you're really close, like Blood Echo, or there's another perk I can't think of off the top of my head, but anything that if you happen to be close, you don't know that's what they are running, and your character would scream for whatever reason, you don't get it. Now, to follow up with that, the only thing that I find annoying about this perk is when you get hooked, all the other survivors, if someone else is running it, you don't hear them scream, so it always sounds like they're dying. It's just like you hear them get hooked, but no sound was made. So other than that, it's a very slept on perk. If you haven't ever run Calm Spirit, I highly suggest doing it for a couple of games and then see what you think, and then get back to me to leave a comment down below what you think about it. The next one I want to talk about is Balance Landing. Yeah, there's not every map has a drop off. Like I think 2 of the Auto Haven maps really don't have anything to drop off and to sprint off and take off. But when you get into houses, or you get into any type of building map, like meat packaging plants at Gideon's, or the RPD map when you're running off the railing, it is a god tier perk in my mind. You run up, you're in a chase, he's almost on you, and you jump down from the height. You don't get the stagger, and bam, you go into 150% movement speed sprint, and so it gives you a massive amount of time to get to a pallet, to get to wherever you need to be, a better loop, instead of being staggered and they come falling down on top of your head and swinging at you. Personally, I think this perk is amazing. Not a lot of people use it. A lot of people use a lot of meta perks like you don't really see sprint burst as much, or in my opinion, I don't see people using sprint burst because they don't 99 it. I also think sprint burst is pretty good, but that's not on this list because it's kind of its own thing. Dead hard, you see a lot of people use it. Balance, you just activate it whenever you want to. You know that the killer's on you, you happen to be close to a drop off point, just run off that drop off point, hit the ground, take off running, and lengthen that chase a bit. The last perk, number 5, any means necessary. I love this perk. This perk is awesome. It's kind of like a mini version of Windows of Opportunity. When someone drops a pallet, you can see that pallet, I believe, all the way across the map. There's no distance or whatnot, which is great because if the killer, for whatever reason, it happens not to break it and ignores the pallet, you can run back over and put the pallet back up. It is such a mind game on them because they'll run back and some of the killers can't remember if it's like, oh, did I break that pallet or not, or did I leave it? And then they come back and they get the pallet slammed back on them again for the second time. Just mind-boggling, especially if it's a god pallet in the shack. It's awesome. It's awesome. And to double, like I said, it doubles as a kind of a mini poopier version of Windows, because if someone does throw a pallet, the killer ends up losing that person, turns around, starts coming at you because you happen to be on a generator. You see that pallet laying down, so you can just run towards it, vault over it. They'll have to break it, and if they don't, if they happen to lose chase, once again, you just go back and put it back up. My favorite thing to do with any means necessary is to wait for someone to be in a loop, and as they feel they don't think they have enough time to vault over the pallet, so they'll leave the loop completely. My favorite thing is to do just run over, pick that thing up, because 95% of the time most people die because they try to run back to the original loop. The pallet's down, they just can't vault over it. So you put that thing up, they see it's up, it's a life. But yeah, this is just a short video. I'm going to try to start posting a little bit more frequently. These are the 5 perks that I feel are slept on heavily in Dead by Daylight. If you haven't ever used them, I suggest using them in your builds, even if you want to run all of them. I don't even think that like Stakeout, Calm Spirit, Inner Healing, and Balance is not a bad loadout at all, to be 100% honest with you. So like I said, use one of these perks just in your build out, change out, your meta dead hard, your adrenaline, whatever you want to use. I actually like adrenaline, so I probably wouldn't change that out, but just whatever you use, stick it in there, try it out. If you like it, leave a comment below, and if you don't, leave a comment below, because I'd love to hear everybody's opinion on what they think about these perks that are heavily slept on. And if you want me to do another video, just go ahead and get in touch with me and let me know, and I'll go over that. But like I said, this is just a short video, and I'll see you in the next one.